It's Thursday, May 7th, and time for your Barbados Today morning news update. Government's extended ban and the importation and the suspension of licenses of drones has left local stakeholders puzzled, and they are questioning why authorities appear more lenient with non-national importers of drones. They believe this is preventing them from cashing in on the global billion-dollar industry and undertaking projects in the national interest. The concerns were highlighted after the ban was extended this past weekend for another 6 months. Vice President and Acting Public Relations Officer of the Barbados UAV Association, Phil Archer, spoke about the issue during a video release.
The association, however, finds the policy of a local-only ban puzzling, in that professionals and companies in Barbados are unable to complement and improve their business or service with the legitimate use and/or upgrading of drones. However, individuals and companies from outside of Barbados have been given the opportunity to apply for exemptions to temporarily import drones into Barbados in a very competitive marketplace and then leave with their drones and money earned from their work. We're a country of limited resources, and it makes more sense to us to allow our residents to access technology of this nature first, with which we can help our own. Given this new extension, BUEVO would like to respectfully urge the current administration to allow the Telecommunications Department to issue new licenses to existing UAV owners who only want to do the right thing to register their current drone equipment for continued activities which can occupy a legitimate space in the creative, industrial, and technological economies.
Over 5,000 requests have been made for government assistance through the Barbados Vulnerable Families Survival Program. Special Advisor to the Prime Minister, Corey Lane, tells Barbados Today some 700 persons have started to receive funds from the program designed to ease the economic burden caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. Lane said those who registered early last month were the first to receive the funds between April 21st and 23rd. He explained that through the stimulus program, government will provide up to $600 checks for 6 months in the first instance. Barbados and the rest of the Eastern Caribbean will benefit from almost $30 million thanks to a newly launched United Nations COVID-19 multi-sectoral response plan and fund appeal. The initiatives are part of the UN's efforts to support countries in fostering international solidarity and helping to mobilize financial resources to meet some of their needs over the next 8 months. During yesterday's official launch, the UN's resident coordinator for Barbados and the Eastern Caribbean, D.D. Trebu, announced that up to $7 million had already been garnered by the UN.
At this time of greater uncertainty, the Caribbean has never before needed the level of assistance that it is today. The region not only requires adequate fiscal space and resources to embark on a comprehensive socio-economic response to COVID, but it also needs technical expertise to effectively target the most vulnerable now, as well as in the longer term, as they seek to restore an income security following this crisis. And I think, for example, of low-skilled employees who have recently lost their jobs in the sector, or fishermen belonging to vulnerable households who are currently suffering from this lockdown. We have heard, I must say, the resounding call from CARICOM countries for urgent debt restructuring or forgiveness. We have also heard the most recent appeal for urgent attention to be given to Caribbean seas, moral leadership made by CARICOM Chairman, Prime Minister Mia Mottley, TV interview. Please count on the UN to help.
Minister of Foreign Affairs and Foreign Trade, Senator Dr. Jerome Walcott, commended the UN for trying to mobilize vital resources to meet the immediate to medium-term needs of countries.
Already some of us reeling under these hardships. Already we have limited health care resources, infrastructure, and the UN is to be praised for the effort it has made in recognize the issues that we find as small island development states in the Caribbean, inherent vulnerabilities. And so they should be commended in this effort to support our countries in Western international solidarity and our belief in multilateralism, in trying to help to mobilize vitally needed resources to meet the needs of Barbados and indeed small island development states. We certainly welcome the efforts of the United Nations in responding to our pleas and needs at this point in time.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
To news from our regional neighbors. The Bahamas reacts to reports of a pending European Commission money laundering blacklist. Reports are that Nassau, Panama, Mauritius, and 9 other countries will be included in the list of states that pose financial risks to the bloc because of anti-money laundering and terrorism financing shortfalls. Attorney General Carl Bethel suggests his government has been blindsided by the move.
We have been, to the knowledge of the European Commission, granted an exiting process which we have started and which would have occurred in April of this year were it not for the COVID-19 epidemic, which has led to the postponement or cancellation of every public gathering of the Financial Action Task Force. So the on-site visit to the Bahamas scheduled for April had to be cancelled, not because of anything the Bahamas did, but because of the global pandemic, and therefore that has been delayed until later in the year.
And finally, historic job losses last month in the U.S. as private employers laid off a record 20.2 million workers due to the COVID-19 outbreak. More in this report from Reuters TV.
A record 20.2 million U.S. workers were laid off by private employers in April. The staggering losses last month alone were more than double the total jobs lost during the Great Recession, according to the ADP Research Institute, which produced the report with Moody's Analytics. What's more, March's job loss numbers were revised sharply upward. The plunge in private payrolls suggest lockdowns in response to the pandemic could leave lasting scars on the economy, even as large parts of the country reopen non-essential businesses. Shedding the most jobs, the leisure and hospitality sector, with nearly 9 million jobs gone. That accounted for more than 40% of the overall job losses. The government will issue its closely watched employment report for April on Friday. Economists forecast payrolls to tumble by a historic 22.9 million. That would crush the record 800,000 jobs lost during the Great Recession. The unemployment rate is expected to soar to an all-time high of 16% in April, which would surpass the 10.8% hit nearly 4 decades ago.
That's news. But for the very latest, visit us at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media in bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. And you can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM and Capital Media HD 99.3 FM.